Alright. Introduce yourself with your name, age, where you're from, and where you live currently if different from where you grew up.
My name is Wendy Ann Hoskins, and I'm 26 years old. I currently live in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador, Canada. I spent the first 10 years of my life living in Ottawa, Ontario. Then I moved to rural Newfoundland in the community of St. Albans. Upon graduation from high school, I moved to Corner Brook and lived there for 2 years. Now I live in the most eastern point of North America, St. John's, Newfoundland, Labrador.
Okay. Quick bio. What do you do for work, or what do you study in school? Are you currently single or in a relationship? Do you have any children?
I am currently completing a degree program in social work at Memorial University.
Do you want to start over that one?
Yeah, don't pause it, but what am I saying?
Right now I'm working on a degree in social work. I've already completed a Bachelor of Arts, psychology, minor in business and admin. Worked in retail, clinical reception, and then you talk about Mike and not your children, but
Cats.
your cats.
Okay, so question?
Quick bio. What do you do for work, or what do you study in school? Are you currently single or in a relationship? Do you have any children?
I'm currently completing a degree program in social work at Memorial University. I have already completed a degree, a Bachelor's of Arts, major in psychology, and a minor in business administration, and a certificate in criminology.
Retail management.
I've worked in a variety of settings, including retail management, behavioral therapy for autism, clinical reception, and supervised access. I am currently living with my boyfriend, Mike, and we've been together for 3.5 years. We don't have any children, but Mike has pretty much adopted one of my cats. So we have 2 fur babies, Katie and Jack.
Background. Where, how did you grow up? Family upbringing, who were you in school, hobbies, etc.
Start me off.
Upon moving to St. John's, I had to adjust to living in rural Newfoundland.
Okay.
No sidewalks or traffic lights.
Upon moving to St. Albans, I had to adjust to living in rural Newfoundland. I was shocked to see that there are no sidewalks or traffic lights. But I did get more freedom with the outdoors. I rode my bike everywhere. I liked to hike in the woods that started just outside of my parents' house. And I became involved with the local Army Cadet Corps.
The sense of belonging, community service.
Oh, yes. What I liked most about Army Cadets was the sense of community and belonging, the wilderness training, and different courses in like first aid.
Top cadets.
Throughout high school, I was one of the top cadets, and I excelled in academics. I was the valedictorian in my graduating class.
You participated in drama and corps?
I also participated in drama and choir.
Okay, tell us about the emotional health issues you've dealt with, when it began, how it started, how it affected your life, and those closest to you.
Start me off.
From the beginning of my teenage years. I felt different.
Okay. From the beginning of my teenage years, I've always felt different.
You were an emotional child?
Oh, I need to read that.
Sure. Okay. Tell us about the emotional health issues you've dealt with, when it began, how it started, how it affected your life, and those closest to you.
Throughout my teenage years, I always knew I was a little bit different.
Emotional child?
I was an emotional child and teenager. I tried to cover up my insecurities by being loud and boisterous. I'm pretty sure it worked. I knew something was wrong with me when I first self-injured at age 16. I showed it to my best friend, and she told me never to do it again. Since then, I've been battling self-injury on and off for 10 years.
Just a dirty little secret.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. It's the dirty little secret I kept hidden from my closest friends and boyfriends.
In the fall of 2008, I broke up with a long-term boyfriend.
In the fall of 2008, I broke up with a long-term boyfriend who I was involved with his daughter. I don't know.
I fell into a deep depression.
Give it back!
What?
Give it back! 2008.
Fall 2008, I broke up with a long-term boyfriend. Go.
In the fall of 2008, I broke up with my long-term boyfriend, who I was involved with his daughter's life.
Fell into a deep depression.
I fell into a deep depression, and I have no idea what I'm saying. What am I saying, Candace?
Did not think I would make it to 2009.
Okay. I fell into a deep depression, and I honestly did not think I would make it to 2009. Then one day I was walking through the main student services building on campus and saw a mental health screening event. So even though I knew I was going to be late for class, I took a deep breath and walked in.
I came clean about self-injury.
I came clean about my self-injury and desire to die. I have felt so relieved to finally be able to express to somebody all the shame and guilt and loss I was feeling.
I tried to be open with my friends.
Since then, I've tried to be very open with my friends. They have become the best support network.
Tell us about the darkest time when dealing with your emotional health issues. What did you do? How did you cope? And what was your lowest point? Please do not gloss over the details.
Okay, so how do I start this one?
My darkest moment was in December 2008.
And then it's when I talk about...
My roommate had returned to St. Albans.
Okay. So, question?
Tell us about the darkest time when dealing with your emotional health issues. What did you do? How did you cope? What was your lowest point?
In December of 2008, my roommate returned to St. Albans for Christmas, and so I pretty much had the apartment alone. I knew that nobody would be by, and I would have enough time to take enough pills, and I had enough time for them to work. So,
You spent an hour injuring yourself.
after about an hour or so injuring myself, I went and got a big glass of water. And I was going to take every pill I can see, both prescription and non-prescription. I gathered all the bottles and put them all in front of me. Then I took one lorazepam to calm myself. And then I fell asleep. I fell asleep on the bathroom floor, surrounded by first aid supplies and pill bottles. I didn't wake until a friend started pounding on the apartment door and calling my cell phone over and over until I woke up. In the next week or so, I didn't have the opportunity to be alone long enough again. And then after that, I no longer really wanted to die. I had the urge, but it had gone.
Cool. Perfect. When and how did you face your issues? Did you seek treatment or get help? What was the turning point that changed your life? You start during that last year at university. I saw a psychologist.
During that last year at university, I saw a psychologist at the Student Counseling Center.
I saw a doctor at the health clinic who prescribed anti-anxiety.
Yes. I also saw a doctor at the Student Health Center, and he prescribed anti-anxiety medication and antidepressants. In talking to the psychologist, I was unsure at first whether or not I wanted to take psychiatric drugs, but she framed it in a different way. She asked me when I thought that these medications were appropriate, and I said that they had their time and their place. And that is when she confronted me and said, "You are trying to kill yourself. Don't you think this is the time and place?" That is the moment that my mind changed. Now, I've had to take different medications since then, but that was definitely the turning point. I was talking to a psychologist, I was getting medical treatment, and I drew in my friends. That is how I managed to get through that dark point.
You also mentioned you had other bouts of depression and self-injury, but you're now working with a team of health professionals. Do you want to say that? Or?
Yeah, no, I can say
Okay.
that. Okay. Since then, I've had other bouts of depression and self-injury, but I'm very lucky to say that right now I'm working with a great group of healthcare professionals, and I've been self-injury free since April 2013.
Who are the closest people in your life currently that you've shared this story with? You have a tight-knit group of friends, mostly from high school, cadets, and university.
What comes after that?
Do you want to look at it?
Yeah.
Alright. Who are the closest people in your life currently that you've shared this story with?
I have a close-knit group of friends, mostly from high school, cadets, and university, And I've shared my story with them, and they have been major supports over the years. Also, early in our relationship, I told Mike about my mental health issues and self-injury, and I figured it would either scare him away or bring us closer. Luckily, he stuck by with me, and he's helped me go through more recent mental health issues, and he has never judged me for self-injury.
What are you most proud of in your life right now? What are you happy to say you've achieved since your bout with emotional health issues? How has life changed for the better beyond your emotional and mental health? Right now, I'm most proud of being accepted to a competitive social work degree program.
Yeah. Right now, I am very proud to be accepted to a very competitive social work program. There are only 15 students accepted, and I was one of them.
The program's intense and difficult.
The program is intense and difficult, but I have some wonderful classmates, and we really try to help each other out.
Since that initial bout of suicidal depression, I've opened up to family and friends.
Since that initial bout of suicidal depression, I've really opened up to my friends and family.
You completed 1 degree and working on a second.
I've completed 1 degree and I'm working on a second.
I've held very rewarding jobs involving working with children.
And then do I have the example?
Yeah, Best in Business Awards.
Okay. Over the years, I've held a variety of very rewarding jobs. I've done behavioral therapy with children with autism, and I've also worked in supervised access.
Your life has been enhanced by achievements in the workplace.
Oh yes. My life has been enhanced by my achievements in the workplace. For example, I was nominated for the Best in Business Awards with my local Chamber of Commerce.
You've made new friends. You have a wonderful relationship with your parents, and you've adopted 2 cats.
Over the years, I've made new friends. I've developed a wonderful relationship with my parents, and I adopted 2 cats.
Do you want to read the next one recorded? What important milestones are coming up mid-late August? A big event or dinner, big news, and a goal you're trying to reach? Important dates.
In mid-August, I'll be finding out whether or not I pass this semester of university. If I do, I will be going on to an internship at a long-term care facility. If I don't, I plan on working with local shelters and other outreach programs. Also, my baby brother and his girlfriend are expecting their son to be born in about late August, early September. They've asked me to be godmother, and I feel so honored.
If you could say anything to someone watching who is depressed, hopeless, a self-harmer, or who has thoughts of suicide, what would you say? Oh, you want to look at this again?
Yeah. Okay.
If you could say anything to someone watching who is depressed, hopeless, a self-harmer, or who has thoughts of suicide, what would you say?
If you are feeling depressed, sad, lonely, heartbroken, hopeless, self-injure, or are suicidal, I want you to know that you're not alone. It might feel like it, but I'm willing to bet that you know somebody who's struggling in one way or another. My advice to you is to talk. Tell somebody. And if that person shuts you down, tell somebody else. And just keep going until you find somebody who hears you. And I mean, like, really hears you. Now, that person could be friend, family member, crisis line worker, doctor, nurse, psychologist, social worker, psychiatrist, or even somebody you just met. But keep talking. Use all that internal pain to propel you to get help. Recovery is not easy. There will be slip-ups and relapses, but just keep going.